Welcome to the Osmo Early Bird Podcast. It's your old pal Emac coming to you with one Chris Randone, and it is Wednesday. I got to say that early because I'm filling in for one Dan Strafford once again. Chris, how the hell are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing really good. Thank you
Do I
for
sound like
asking.
Dan when I say that?
You do.
How the
It's a
hell are you?
yeah. Try to emulate the good old Dan. But no, I'm doing good, man. Excited to be on the show with you again. Always a pleasure. And yeah, 10 game slate Wednesday night. Break it down.
It should be a fun one. We got to see the Wizards down yet another guy on surprise, a little bit of a surprise on Tuesday. They had announced that Thomas Bryant is out for 2 or 3 weeks. I didn't see what the reason was, but that was kind of came out of nowhere. So they called up a couple guys from their G League team, which is the Capital City Go-Go's, is the name of that. Go-Go dancing is a form of dancing, not like go-go girls, but it's an entirely different thing, but very unique to the Washington D.C. city. I learned this after moving out here, so it's kind of a nod to those days. Did you know that the Washington Go-Go's played whatever the Orlando Magic team is today in the Capital One Center? So, what's his name? Oh, their center. Who'd they call up? Admiral Schofield played 38 minutes in a game for the G League team, and he's playing tonight. They're wrapping up that game right now as we're recording into the fourth quarter, and I want to see how much he's played. He has played 6 minutes.
Yeah.
But people were saying, "Oh, we should put him in." I'm like, guys, they actually played today randomly. The
Yeah.
teams
Yeah.
traveled together, and it was a double header, if you will, and it was kind of funny. But people were like, "Oh, how'd you know that?" I'm like, I just happened to hear something on the news talking about it, so I knew they had played today. But there we are. But those are the fun little things you get, and that's what you get when you are in the Slack chat there. Premium Osmo, you want to check it out. Get 1 month at half price using the promo code EARLYBIRD, all one word. For those of you that missed out on the Cyber Monday sale, I'm sorry, you missed out. That's why you got to act fast on these. But let's talk about our 10-game slate here, Chris. I think I got everybody who's on a back-to-back, played Tuesday and playing Wednesday. So this would be the second half teams. That is Orlando, Detroit, Miami, Dallas, Portland, and the Lakers. And somebody might pop up if I missed them, but I was trying to compare. I don't have my Excel thing set up. It's on my other computer. Usually I can just drop the schedule in and it matches it for me and tells me who's on the back-to-back. But it's not on this computer, sadly. I should save that to the cloud. But we are on point guards here. A lot of choices. Take it away.
Man, first guy, Luca Doncic, right? I mean, I don't think I can go a slate without rostering him right now just because of just how much upside he brings with that triple-double potential, his shot, assist. I mean, he's just really an all-around amazing player. And right underneath him is Trae Young, who has a very disappointing game last game against Golden State, which was a really good matchup. It's not like he didn't play well. It's just the fact that like his usage was down and it wasn't a typical Trae Young game per se. But I mean, at home against Brooklyn, this is going to be one of those matchups where we'll probably see a lot of Young ownership, a lot of Dinwiddie, which he's 8,200. So I don't mind going to this game and probably game stacking. I really like Trae Young at the point guard position. LeBron on a back-to-back at Utah will probably be a slow-paced game. I don't really see the upside there. He is 10K, get him at a little bit of a discount. But for those three guys above the 10K mark, I would probably say it's a battle between Doncic and Young. I'd probably give the edge to Young just because he has that $1,200 savings. But I like both those guys at the top, man. It's really hard to kind of not look at them and then keep going down.
Yeah, and you mentioned Luca. He's phenomenal. He is fourth in the league in scoring, 30 points a game, 9.9 rebounds per game. That's 15th. 9.2 assists per game. That's fourth. Almost a triple-double there. Almost a 30-10-10 triple-double. That's just absolutely phenomenal for a second-year player there. He is someone that is worthy of the ever-climbing price point. As we look at some of our other options here at the point guard position, we have, sorry, get the filter going here. We have Ricky Rubio is someone I'm not really intrigued by. even though he's going against Orlando, who's on a back-to-back, he and Devin Booker tend to sort of cap each other's upside. Markelle Fultz, however, at 5,700, is someone I'm very interested in. We have Justice Winslow on the back-to-back. He's going into Boston at 5,300. I like that. And then Alec Burks going against Charlotte, does not play defense. He is 6,000, but I think that's a price he can actually pay off for us, come close to that 40 fantasy point plateau. What do you like here from the mid-tier?
Yeah, great call on Alec Burks, man. I think there's a lot of upside with Alec Burks. Kind of like Schroeder at 6K, just coming off the bench. I don't. Last time I think they did play each other once. He didn't have the best of games, but Schroeder's someone who can definitely be a hot hand off the bench. And he's very contrarian play, but I don't mind it if you're looking to have just a couple shares of him. Love the Fultz call. He's actually playing really good tonight against Washington. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of will ownership go to him. But he's been fairly well over his last few games. He's getting into the 30-minute range, shooting the ball pretty well from the field. He's scoring, and obviously he's getting some boards and assists to make up for it and to where he can hit. So I think he could easily pay off that price point. I really like that call. If Draymond Green is out, I think you can roll with Kai Bowman again, 5,600. Charlotte, this game probably will have some ownership too because it probably will be up-paced. And then Justin Winslow at 5,300. Don't really know how he's doing tonight, but if he starts getting his minutes back to where it was in the mid-30s, and he can actually sink a shot because he's struggling right now since he's been back from shooting from the field, I don't mind Justin Winslow either at 5,300.
Yeah, I was just looking here. I'm going to see, let's see, go to our friends here at Oroto World. I wanted to look at Goran Dragic. I didn't know how long. Okay, so strained right groin. He did not play Tuesday. He has already been ruled out Wednesday. So Kendrick Nunn, Tyler Hero, Justice Winslow are the guys that would pick up the additional love. I really only like Winslow of those three. Not seeing enough consistency from Kendrick Nunn, just in my opinion. Of course, that could change at any time, but that's just as we've seen his performances from a youngster. He's been good, and they should be happy he's on their team. But looking at tonight, he's 3 for 10 in 23 minutes, 6 points, 4 assists. That's not great. And then Tyler Hero, also, he's very score independent. So that's a tough one for him. Now they still have another fourth quarter or the full fourth quarter to play here, so they could turn that around a little bit. The one guy we kind of missed in the middle here, price is going up, which is why I glanced over him. But Devonte Graham gets that matchup going against Golden State. He is now 7,700. That's a real decision point for us. I think he can definitely get there for us in his last 5 games, 6 games. Let's see, 6 games. He has topped 35 fantasy points in 6 of 7. He's hit 40 fantasy points in 2 of those, but he's been above 38 in 5 of them. So he's been pretty decent. You do get the potential for a double-double bonus there with assists on DraftKings if he gets assists and points for that one. He is not really impacted as much by Frazier as we thought he was. Yeah, they both are decent at playing off the ball, so that's helpful, but they're not ball dominant guards. So they're still getting assists within the flow of the offense, which has been kind of nice. Anybody down in the bargain bins at first look without any mega news yet?
As far as point guard?
Point guards, yeah. Perhaps
Satoransky, I just want to mention him real quick.
Sato.
I mean, yes, I don't mind him. He's been consistent in regards to minutes. I would like to see him get back in the double-digit field goal attempt range, but his assists are there, and if he can score a little bit more, he's 5,200. This Memphis team doesn't play defense, and they struggle as far as defensively in the backcourt. So I could see him having some upside there, and I think that goes for Kobe White and Chris Dunn as well. These guys are in the mid 4-tier range. You can flirt around with them because the way that the coach is running this offense in the rotations, they're all getting pretty good minutes per se. So it's just a matter of maybe which one of the guards goes off. But in an up-paced matchup against Memphis at home, I think there's somewhat of consideration. Rondo is 4K. This would be an extreme pump play, but if things get a little bit out of hand, or if he's able to just at least see 20, 24 minutes at 4K, someone who can really dish out assists. And if he can score a little bit, I don't mind him maybe getting at 25, 30 points. I could definitely see that.
That's actually an interesting one to call out. It is the back-to-back, but he is not really playing over 20 minutes. Let me rephrase that. He's not getting taxed by a ton of minutes, and both these games are at altitude. Tuesday, sorry, I lost track of nights. Tuesday night, they're playing in Denver, and then Utah is actually at altitude as well. A lot of people forget that, but I think that's an interesting call out there, Chris. I just want to see. Yes, so Salt Lake City is 4,200 feet, which is 1,600 less than Denver, but it is well higher than any other city in the major leagues, or probably in the NBA. Just food for thought there. If you wonder why Denver's or Utah seemingly always good at home, that's one of the more
that's a pretty solid point.
Helpful reasons. All right, shooting guards. Donovan Mitchell is someone who is kind of interesting to me, at least. He's coming in at 7,100 on DK, 8,000, a little tougher to get there on him, but that's adequate. And then 30 on Yahoo, presenting sponsor. We'll talk about them in a little bit here. So I'm leading off with Mitchell. I think Brogdon at 7,700 is interesting, and then Buddy Hield at 7,400, shooting guard, small forward eligibility, kind of the engine without De'Aaron Fox and Marvin Bagley, who should be coming back here at some point in the next week or two. But Hield going against Portland, who's on the back-to-back, I kind of like that. What is there for you at shooting guard at the top?
Man, Dinwiddie, I think, stands out the most. He's 8,200, but his usage right now and just how much control he has of this offense going to give you a lot of minutes. I mean, he's the captain right now with Kyrie out, so he's running this offense. And at 8,200, I still think it's okay. I don't think it's a price range that we can't pay based on kind of the position that he's in and the matchup that he has at Atlanta. So I love that. Booker gets a little bit more of a slow down pace at Orlando, but he's 8K. The only thing with Booker is, I mean, it's kind of like he's really just so much dependent upon his scoring. The only thing that I will say is that 2 out of the last 4 games started seeing a little increase in his assists. So I don't mind that either. And then as we go down a little bit, we have Devonte Graham, who you mentioned. Love him. Brogdon, Hield. These guys are all in consideration, but I will say they are all pricey. So if we're looking at shooting guard and we're paying up here, we're going to have to decide, well, where are we going to be paying down at? Because we can't just load up on these 7-8K guys. And so I think really what's going to take place is I could see people pivoting to an Alec Burks, like we mentioned earlier. Dylan Brooks, who has come on lately. And if you haven't really seen or know who he is, but shooting guard for Memphis. He's also benefiting right now with Ja Morant out. He's getting more usage. And if Valanciunas is out as well, that even increases his stock even more as far as scoring opportunities. So at 5,700, I really like him in this matchup against Chicago.
That's definitely a good one. We know that both Ja Morant and Brandon Clark are week to week with their injuries. And Valanciunas, I think he missed the last one because he was sick. Let's see. Yes, he's still questionable. It says he's missed 2 games with illness, and hopefully we get more news tomorrow on that one. But if those guys are, let me rephrase that. If Valanciunas is out, it really opens up a boatload of front court minutes. We saw Solomon Hill get 33 against Indiana. He went for 22 points, 6 boards, 3 steals. So he had a very, very good game. Price came up dramatically on him. He went from 3,200 to 4,700. That's still a fine price. As long as those minutes are going to be open there in this matchup against Chicago. And then Melton is the other guy who's sort of interesting. He disappoints more often than not, but again, there could be a boatload of minutes there in Memphis. Why is it always Memphis that seems to be going down to bare bones every year at some point?
I mean, think about it. Nothing's been the same since Bryant Country Reeves. You remember him?
Big Country. There you go.
Big Country, man.
It was the Vancouver Grizzlies, my friend.
Yeah, man. I remember those days. Also to take note, I think Joe Harris is in play, 5,700. in this matchup against Atlanta. I really like I'm curious to see what Taurean Prince's price is, because I think this will be one of those games where high over under, a lot of possessions, a lot of scoring opportunity. And as we know, these are games that we definitely want to focus on for fantasy purposes. And even Garrett Temple, he's 5,200, not the most ideal fantasy player, but if you look at what he's done lately, I mean, he's shooting 12 shots, 14 shots, but he's getting stats with assists, with rebounds, and he's doing things defensively. He's averaging like a steal and a block per game, over the last, 5 or 6 games, I think. So, yeah, I don't mind him either. This game is very intriguing to me when you look at these mid-price guys at both point guard and shooting guard thus far.
Last guy back up at the top there. Did you mention Zach Lavine?
I did not, but I definitely don't mind him.
So getting a little more expensive, but the minutes are up. In his last 6 games, he's playing just shy of 34 minutes per game. Scoring is up dramatically since being called out by the coach. Seems like we have a little bit of a mutiny going on with the Bulls here, but he has been jacking the shots. He's averaging 9 3-point attempts per game over his last 6, and he's splashing them at 53%. That is not the volume is sustainable. The rate, probably not, but enjoy it while it's there. He's scoring 29 points per game compared to a season average of 22, but he has just decided that he is in DGAF mode, which is helpful for daily fantasy purposes here. Boyan has kind of lost that locker room. So I do like him in the up-pace game against an equally depleted and messed up team in Memphis. So there we are with that one. How fortunes have changed. Looking over here at the small forward position, we're going to end up with LeBron up there at the top. Let me sort here by projected points. Giannis, of course, is in the mix. Jason Tatum is then kind of in that next tier of expensive guys, which is well below Giannis and LeBron. I'm not really a fan of his at 82 on FanDuel. He's 79 on DraftKings. They have some more of the extreme savings that you can get there, but it's a tough matchup against Miami, and that makes me a little bit nervous. Andrew Wiggins is someone I know you like to talk about. Jeff Teague coming off the bench. It looks like they're turning over the offense more to Mr. Wiggins there and spreading out their ball handlers because they really don't have anybody outside of those two.
Yeah, I mean, Wiggins in previous years was highly dependent upon just scoring, but now he's kind of doing it all in all ways. And I mean, for us, that's great for fantasy purposes, but you're going to get your 36 minutes. You're going to get a ton of shots, and he's more effective as a ball handler, to be honest with you. So, yeah, it's 7,800, and T coming off the bench, which I don't think poses a threat whatsoever. This matchup against Dallas, yeah, why not, right? Minnesota, high-paced team. This game we'll probably see, just like those other games, those 2 other games, that this could be intriguing as well. But as we move down the list, I think Butler, 7,300. He's somewhat cheap. The only thing with Butler is he hasn't really shown those 50, 55 game flashes like we saw early on. Kind of been in a little bit of a drought as far as fantasy is concerned. Great player on both ends of the court, but we need a little bit more to really justify that 7,300. And he could probably go low owned, but high upside type of situation. If Draymond Green is out, I like Pascal again. I think I like him either way, if Draymond's in or not. But this guy's pretty good, man. He is very active within the offense, and he's going to have a great matchup against Charlotte. I don't think anyone in that front court can really stop him. So at 6,500, I think you can write him off for 35 minutes. And, I mean, he can definitely get you 35, 40 fantasy points with ease, in my opinion.
All right. I was just looking at Wiggins here. He is only 24.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
He's been in the league for 6 years. He actually, in his first, 82 games per season. His first year, he started 82. The next year, he started 81, missed 1 game. Then the next 2 years, he started 82 each. Last year, he had a few injuries, so he only started 73. But he's got a lot of mileage and experience. It's kind of funny to see him really start to put it all together. Now his assists are just 3 per game, so it's not dramatic. But compared to his, averaging prior to coming into the season just over 2 assists per game, that's actually a big jump. His blocks are just through 16 games, double his career average. His points, his career average is 19. He's scoring 25 this season. And the shooting percentage, 46% from the field for a 44% shooter. He hasn't shot over 40. Yeah, he hasn't shot that good in any one of his seasons to date, and his 3-point percentage is second best of the career, but he's taking twice as many as his career averages. So he's just kind of stepping up all over the place here. And the other funny thing, minutes are actually down compared to the last, his entire career. He's actually playing the fewest minutes per game at 34.8. That's a tie with last year. So these are all things that are sustained, that I think we can see this. He's made the next evolution here, and perhaps everything is clicking for him. So I think while he is fairly priced, less people are going to him because we all have that preconceived notion of, he's just a scorer. And we're seeing otherwise at this point.
When he was at Kansas, he was kind of like a combo guard, was he not?
He's only there 1 year, though, right?
Yeah, but I mean, in that year, I could have sworn he was kind of like a combo guard where he kind of had the ball in his hands at times, running the offense. I could be wrong, but I think that's what from what I remember. But either way, I mean, if he's playing the point, I mean, he's 6'8". That's a huge point guard type figure. I feel like he has such a dominant situation against a majority of point guards in the league with his size and his athleticism. So yeah, he's definitely coming into his own, and he's having a kind of like an all-star year.
I'm trying to. Oh my God! Why did I not remember? Okay, here was the. Oh, that can't be the team. Oh my God, it is. All right, here's the team from Kansas. This is 2013-2014. So Frank Mason, fringe guard. He's played with the Kings for a couple years, but now is with the Bucks G League team. Wayne Selden, he was in the pros. Andrew White had a cup of coffee with or in the NBA. You've got Tyler Self, who everybody remembers, kind of topped out in college. You've got Joel Embiid, lest we forget, he was on that team. That was the one I was like, wait, what? I don't remember him being with Wiggins. Then you have Wiggins, Tariq Black, who was around in the league for a bit. Perry Ellis, he kind of topped out there in college, but I think he was at least broke camp, I think, with some team. That was a good team. Those guys were all freshmen, redshirt freshmen, and sophomores.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise. That was loaded.
Yeah, they had a really good team.
Now, they all took a little different path to get to the NBA and were staggered getting there. Nobody took the direct path quite like Wiggins did there, but wow, what a team. All right, enough of memory lane here. Let's see. What do we like down in the lower tiers of people we have not yet mentioned? Garrett Temple getting a fair number of minutes. He's never really exciting, but he does take care of that pesky shooting guard, small forward spot on, depending on your side of choice. Shooting guard on FanDuel, small forward on Yahoo. 13 on Yahoo I really like. I'm solid with the 5,200 there on DraftKings. Kind of unless you need a second shooting guard there on FanDuel. We do have a lot of teams in there, but I like the matchup going against Atlanta. And he's getting more minutes just because they need some viable guys there. Let's see. Oh, Dario Saric back to being a small forward on DraftKings. Interesting. Yeah, that's about it. TJ Warren. How do we feel about TJ Warren with everybody healthy? Because Yahoo has him fairly priced at 21, but DK at 55 and FanDuel at 54. That seems kind of interesting. Let's look at.
I feel like with TJ, I mean, he's really dependent upon his scoring. You're not going to get much out of him else. If he takes 15, 20 shots, you might have a chance for him to pay off. But I mean, he's not going to do much with rebounds nor assists. You might get a steal or two, but really it just comes down to his scoring. He's scoring dependent. It's kind of hard.
All right, my dog keeps coming in here. I have no idea why. Everybody else is in bed, but she keeps pushing the door open, so we'll see if she wants to hang out with me.
She wants to hang out with Dad.
I guess. I guess. Oh, yeah. She's pushing around the blanket on the floor behind me that I leave out there for her. So there we go. Um, yeah, you're right. It is mostly point dependent there. Last game, he only got 9 field goals, but 19, 11, 16, 15, 17, 21 prior to that. Yes, a few people were hurt, but we saw what he could do in Phoenix when he had the opportunity, and we've seen similar performances here with Indiana, and this will be a faster paced game going against OKC. Moving along here to power forward, changing over the filters. Up at the top, Anthony Davis. Of course, we have Warren's teammate, Domantas Sabonis. You've got Kristaps Porzingis, whose price is very nice on DraftKings at 6,900, 8,100 on FanDuel. Yes, it is a back-to-back, so we're going to want to see what happens in this one. But at 6,900, if we don't have official word one way or the other for a minutes limit, I think that's an interesting one against Karl Anthony Towns and Minnesota. How are you feeling about power forward for Wednesday?
Man, Giannis, I'm okay with anytime. I mean, if he's low owned, you kind of leverage that play because there's so much upside there, so I don't mind it. Sabonis is going to be in a great matchup at 8,300. Uh, his price, I just wish he was in the 7K mark, but I like him. I think it's okay here. Obviously, there's a lot of upside with him, double-double potential, which I think he gets a double-double almost every single game. I think he's got like not one out of his last 10 games. So, yeah, love Sabonis here. Porzingis, he's still pretty cheap, under 7K. I think they'll need big men on the floor with Towns as well. So I like Porzingis at 6,900. And then going down, if Valanciunas is out and Brandon Clark, I think you should just lock in Jaren Jackson Jr. regardless, because I mean he is someone who can not only get you there scoring wise, but very aggressive, very active defensively. He's going to have a really good matchup. We just saw what Rashon Homes did to that Chicago front court. And it gets even worse if Wendell Carter Jr. gets in foul trouble, which he does a lot. So Jaren Jackson Jr., I think we can go ahead and write him up. They've already played once, and in that game, he dropped 44 DK points. So took 17 shots. More usage to him with these guys out of the lineup. And with Clark, not a threat to him either. Yeah, I've really loved Jaren Jackson Jr. as a first look.
All about those fouls, and he only gets 6 of them. But the last game was eye-opening. It was a nice reminder of the upside that he does possess here. Yeah, we've kind of hit on everybody here. We'll look for some when we circle. Or actually, let's just do it now. Let's look for some FanDuel and Yahoo specific power forward plays that I'll ask you what you think of them here, since I've got this all in my spreadsheet. So at the top, you got Giannis at 58. That's the new ceiling there on Yahoo. You've got Davis at 52. Then we drop all the way down to Porzingis and Sabonis. They're in 38 and 31. Blake Griffin becomes intriguing at 27, going against Milwaukee. The aforementioned Jaren Jackson Jr. at 22 is solid. How do you feel about Jabari Parker? 28 on Yahoo, 64 on DK, and 7,000 on FanDuel.
I mean, kind of. I don't get too excited about it, but he is 6,400 on DK, so he's kind of fell off since that game against Milwaukee. I don't know what it is, but
he has revenge in his heart. He really does.
Hey, we called that. You remember? It was we called that on the podcast. I don't know if you remember, but It was definitely revenge season for Parker there. So, but even before that, I mean, there were glimpses of 38, 34, 40 fantasy points, but I will say it's just I'd rather get him in the fives.
Okay.
But at 6,400, I guess you can consider it. But I like Trae Young and probably like DeAndre Hunter and Bembry in this game. Because of their price points and the amount of time they get on the floor.
Khem Birch, not exactly making a lot of people happy we just have the end of the Washington-Orlando game here. So he was 0 for 1 from the field, played 28 minutes, 9 boards, 5 assists. Orlando beat Washington 127-120, but he is still $10 on Yahoo, so nobody will want to play him after this performance. Please note, he's kind of what I like to refer to as a garbage man, meaning they don't, they're not designing the plays for him. He needs to get stuff off putbacks in transition, etc. But before Tuesday night's dud, he had put up 27 and 26 Yahoo points, so that's relatively solid. Remember, it's 3 points for steals and blocks there. Heading into Tuesday night, he had 3 combined, 4 combined, and 2 combined in his last 3 games, all of which were starts. Or he was averaging 27 minutes in those games. So this one was just kind of a bit of a dud. So I'm not afraid to go back to him. Let's move on to centers here. And round things out, and then we'll do one global look at FanDuel and Yahoo. Reminder, if you guys have not yet signed up for Yahoo, what are you waiting for? They're running the baller every night for NBA, and of course they have the $200,000 baller on Sunday. Free article for that, but I also have a free article where I mention decent Yahoo plays every day for NBA. It's called the Cash Building Blocks article. That is on the front page of Osmo. The bottom section there has the link, instructions, and promo code on how you can get $30 matched by Yahoo in YSRP's Yahoo Sports Rewards points, which are just as good as cash and available for immediate use into any contest when you make your first deposit on their DFS side of things. All right, here we go. Karl Anthony Towns, 10,600 on DK, same price on FanDuel, 50 on Yahoo. Feels like he could be a core play. I hate having my center be my core play, but he has been so good. He's going against Dallas. They are going to be on a back-to-back, but they literally have nobody who can guard him. It's not going to be Powell. It's not going to be Kleba, and it's not going to be Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah, I mean, he's in a great matchup, 10-6. Can easily get there. I think what it's going to come down to is where's the value at? Can we fit him? Or can we pivot? I mean, Anthony Davis is 9,400. It's pretty cheap. Not going to be the best of matchups, but hey, I mean, at 9,400, it's like, what do we really need him to do, given the fact that his ceiling is so high? So I think when you're looking at it, do you pivot? Where's ownership going to be? Will people be on Davis? I mean, will he even play? Especially after on a back-to-back, you know how it is with him and the injury reports. So, but yeah, I think Towns is in a great spot, and I don't mind either of those guys, the top 2 guys at the top over 9K. Then we go down Drummond, who just had a monster game tonight. Didn't play in the fourth quarter, so you don't have to worry about that issue with minutes on a back-to-back. I mean, who's going to stop him? If Brook Lopez is out, right? So, I mean, he's questionable. He might not play. Who's really going to stop him? I think if Robin Lopez plays, either way, it's just I think he's going to be able to eat and really crash the boards. So I don't mind him either at 8,900 for those core guys at the top at the center position.
Have we seen Blake Griffin play on a back-to-back yet?
He had a pretty solid game tonight all around.
Let me just call up a report that will have it here. No days rest. Yeah, so he has not played on the back-to-back. He sat out. Well, his first game back, didn't play that next one. That was a back-to-back. And then the 22nd, he played 33 minutes, sat out on the 23rd. So we'll have to see what he's going to do in this. If he is out, even though it's not the easiest of matchups, then that helps open things up for continue to give more shots to guys like Luke Kennard, etc. We'll have to see what's going on with Derrick Rose as well after that game. He usually he has played in some of the back-to-backs, but they have been treating him with kid gloves, and it's working out. He's an amazing per minute guy, but they've said they're only going to play him 25 minutes a game. So that could the Blake Griffin news could give us some potential guys getting extra minutes. Moving down the list here a little bit, you've got Rashon Homes against Portland. That will be interesting. He was going to be going toe-to-toe with Whiteside. Whiteside has the advantage there. Whiteside's 7,600 on DK. Holmes is 6,700. You have Steven Adams at 63. He'll be taking on Miles Turner, who is allergic to rebounds. Yeah, nothing really exciting here once we get down the center position. What about Rudy Gobert? How do you feel about his health recently?
I mean, look at his last game against Philly. He dropped 52 points. didn't have really any issues as far as his minutes are concerned. So I think maybe we can write out the injury. This isn't a back-to-back, so he has rest. He's 74, or excuse me, he's 7,500. Who's going to really stop him between McGee and Howard? Although he didn't have the best of games in their first matchup. I mean, obviously we know how great defensively the Lakers are, but if
that was the second game of the season, though. We'll give him a pass there.
Yeah, I mean, 7,500 though, he could easily go off and get into that 50-point range like we just saw. So I don't mind it. Then you got Bam Adebayo. He's 7,200, seems to be very consistent. I think you can trust him at 7,200, and he's in a matchup against Boston. I mean, who's going to stop him in Boston's front court? Thies or Robert Williams. I think it's a great matchup for Bam. And then as we go down, I once again, I mean, Jaren Jackson Jr. is definitely going to be one of my top-rated guys, just looking at it from a first look. And then Rashon Homes, I think, has a great matchup against that front court of Portland. I think that's an area that you can always attack too.
All right, let's look here at the FanDuel. I'm just going to look at their value here. So let me filter over to them. Guys that we didn't necessarily call out. 4,300 Frank Kaminsky going against Orlando. They are on the back-to-back. That's not the worst price point. DeAndre Bembry is 4,700. Atlanta going against Brooklyn. I feel okay about that one. Tim Hardaway Jr., he is playing on the back-to-back, but he's 5K on FanDuel, 14 on Yahoo. That seems somewhat intriguing. Yeah, those are the main guys that are kind of coming out there. God, Jaren Jackson Jr. just keeps popping everywhere, doesn't he? If you project him for more than 28 minutes, he really climbs up through the
It's such a great matchup, man. Yeah. It's unreal.
Yeah, God, that really is. Well, we know we've mentioned the risk. He's Jackson Jackson, but there's some possibility there. Some of the $10 guys here. You have Chris Dunn against Memphis at 10 even. I'm okay with that one, especially in tournaments. I already mentioned Kem Birch, and we don't need to be afraid of him. Kaminsky's 11. Terrence, it's like if the Magic are permanently priced at $10. Terrence Ross is 10. You got DJ Augustine at 10. They're all in the back-to-backs. Reminder that Washington is horrible on defense, so they're not that good. Phoenix, not that much better. They play fast. They're adequate on defense, but their discipline is lacking greatly as this season continues. And then Rodney Hood, you could get a 30-point game out of Rodney Hood for $10. You could also have him feel a little rumbly in his tumbly and not play more than 7 minutes. But $10 for Rodney Hood, I've got to roll the dice on that.
I don't mind that at all.
And then be careful with Kevon Looney. He's also minimum price on every site. Minutes limit. He only played, his cap was 15 in that first one back, since he's missed basically every game this season since the opening night. Just want to see what he ended up playing there. He played 15 minutes, so right in line with what they're doing. Just be careful if you're looking at projections and some of that free stuff out there. He's going to pop until people realize he's not playing more than 15 minutes in this one, so keep an eye on that. Any final thoughts before we get on out of here, Chris?
No, man, 10-game slate. Once again, I'm excited to see kind of where value starts showing tomorrow, give us a better sense of an idea. But a lot of great stars on this slate. Looking to see what kind of scrubs we can play. But yeah, good luck to everyone and have a beautiful day.
All right, 20 teams in action. There will be some news and things will pop. I mean, look, we got Thomas Bryant out for 3 weeks out of nowhere on Tuesday. This is the NBA where stars and scrubs dreams come true. With that, you can follow Chris on Twitter at Chris Randone. I am at EMACDFS, and of course, it is Osmo_COM. With that, gamers, good luck.